Hello, welcome to Geeking Out with Shad. I haven't done an update on my car for a while. I've got well over 3,000 miles on it already in just 2 months of ownership. Everything's been flawless, but I do have a couple of stories to tell you about charging, and this is the part that I've talked about before that really needs updating and changing and just a culture change in general. I'll tell the other story in a minute, but I'll talk about this story right now that I just dealt with. I came here to the Hyundai dealership to plug in, and I literally called them because I knew they had chargers here, right? And said, hey, are your chargers available so I can pull in and charge? And they use ChargePoint, right? And I have a bunch of free credits with ChargePoint, so that's cool. So I drove over here probably 15-20 minutes later, and they had ICE vehicles parked in the way of getting to the chargers, and they have two chargers. So here are the different photos of the two chargers, and the one, even though it looks like there's a space, that space is behind a row of handicap or no parking signs or whatever, so you can't get to it from the side that I took the photo from. You have to come from the other side. There really is no way to get to either one of these chargers, which I found kind of funny. Like, it's like they offer this service of, hey, here, we have chargers at our dealership, but then they don't care to make sure they don't block them so people can come in and access them. I did, however, go into the dealership and ask them, and they were able to move the Hyundai Tucson or Tuscan, whatever it's called, out of the way. Tucson? I have no idea. But they had to move that SUV out of the way, and it took them about 15 minutes to find the keys for it so they could move it. So it was kind of funny. And then on top of that, I was sitting in this car charging, and it's charging really fast, kind of mind-boggling how fast it's charging. And while I was sitting here, some kid that works at the dealership just pulled right in front of me and was gonna park a new car. You could tell it had the plastic on the hood and stuff. Just park a new car right in front of me and then walk away. And I yelled at him and said, hey, you can't block me in. And then he's like, oh, okay, sorry, right? But it's just that mentality of like, oh, we don't care about these chargers that we have at our dealership. So there's definitely a culture change there that needs to happen. And then I'm going to talk about this other story where I was on a short trip. I drove up to Duluth, Minnesota, and then was coming back. And I'll quickly look up the town that I was in just so I can mention it. Hold on. Okay, so I looked up the town. The town was Moose Lake. So I was able to get all the way to Duluth, no problem. Actually, I was just shy of Duluth. I didn't actually go all the way down into Duluth because I was just going to this furniture place to pick up some of this recyclable furniture stuff that's pretty cool, and then head back. So I didn't want to go all the way into Duluth because they do have a couple of charging stations down in the port, and I had enough battery to easily start driving back. So I stopped at Moose Lake because they had a charger. The thing is they only had one CCS charger, one fast charger, and next to it they had a level 2 charger, the J1772 charger, but that's not something you can just plug in while you're on the road and charge up your vehicle and then get going again. So when we got to Moose Lake, and they had this one charger. It was interesting because they were marketing that they had this charger in the town, which I get. If you have a small town and you're going to put chargers in, that's an excellent idea. It'll draw, people into your town, and then they'll spend money while they're waiting for their car to charge and so on and so forth. But to only have one is kind of ridiculous, because when I got there was a Volkswagen ID4 parked and charging, and so I said to the person, oh, how much longer are you going to be? And they said, well, we have to charge you 100% because we're going all the way up to the very tip of Minnesota which so they had, you know, sometimes you can only charge at 80 and it charges faster, and then that last 20% takes longer. So I was like, oh, okay, so you got like another 20 minutes maybe or so, maybe 30 minutes before they top out, because they're already over 80%. And so I was like, okay, so I'll wait around. And then while I was waiting there, I thought, well, I'm just going to plug into the level 2 charger, because I might as well get as much charge in my car as possible to shorten my wait for the other one. So I did that. And then another car pulled in, and it was like it was a Hyundai, but it wasn't it was the older one, but it was an EV. I don't remember which one. But the person there, as he pulled in, I went and notified him that I was next in line and that I was just using the level 2. And he was like, oh, okay. But he had a family with him with kids and things like that. And so it took a while, and then the ID4 eventually got done and pulled out. And then the guy with the other Hyundai started kind of walking over to the charger, and I said, well, wait, it's my turn. And he's like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know if he's going to try to snake me or what, but then I went and pulled my car in and plugged it in and everything like that. Well, you know, of course my car needed a pretty significant charge, so it was going to be a while. So now the guy with the Hyundai, he had to wait for me, but you could see he got frustrated, and he had his family and a kid with him and stuff, and he decided to just take off, right? That is not a good experience. And that guy certainly seemed kind of new to the whole charging game, as I'm relatively new to it, especially fast charging on the road, because I don't do it much, but I have done it a few times now, so I kind of have it down. But he really seemed like, oh, this isn't working, right? Whatever, and seemed frustrated with it and whatever. And the moment people get frustrated, they're going to be like, nope, I don't want an EV anymore, right? So these small towns, I love it that they're going to put chargers in there, but they need to do more than one. There's enough EVs out there. This is one small town in the middle of Minnesota, and we had 3 EVs all at once trying to use a single charger, right? And we don't want that. We want multiple chargers available. And, you know, I would say a minimum of 4. And I also don't understand why the chargers aren't somehow set up so they're pull through. Because if somebody comes in with an F-150 with a trailer or anything with a trailer, they're going to have to unhook the trailer to get into these chargers. So I've talked about this before, but now I've actually experienced it out on the road, and coming to this dealership and having the charger blocked by ICE vehicles. like people are just not quite ready for the EV revolution. It's happening. It's just, these are kind of the growing pain points of it that we're just going to have to go through for a while. But it is rapidly changing. I look on my little charger map, and there's a whole bunch of new chargers. They have a little wrench by the little indicator saying coming soon. There's a whole bunch more chargers coming soon. And I hope that they realize they need to put more than just one charger, one fast charger. I hope they have, you know, in a small town, maybe 2, right? Fast chargers, CCS chargers, and then of course we're going to have NACS coming up here, and then everybody's going to be using NACS. So they got a plan for that. And then bigger areas and larger cities, they should have 4 chargers or 8 chargers or something like that, right? So it's getting there. It's just, we're in that phase where it's kind of some growing pains, but it'll get there. Awesome. I appreciate your support for my channel. Please like and subscribe. Peace.